March 10, 2019. Put a little love in your heart. Jill Campbell. Licensed Unity teacher. Given at Unity of Payson, Arizona.
Opportunity this morning to stop at Circle K and Shello. It's kind of the way we come down the hill. It's like a family ritual. And we were heating up burritos because we wanted to not have our stomachs growl while we were doing this. And anyway, so I got to talking to a couple of the people in the store. And they said, well, where are you going today? And I said, well, I'm going to guest speak at Unity of Payson. And I talked to the girl, and, she was talking, she said, well, I'm not religious. And I said, well, neither am I. I'm spiritual. And she said, well, what are you going to talk about today? And I said, well, I'm going to talk about not judging, how to see people as the true Christ self. And she said, you know what? I said, what? She said, Jesus just wants us all to get along. And I said, okay, you don't have to come to my talk today. and I want to say thank you so much for inviting me today. I feel that energy among you. Wow, you've got such a beautiful place and so much love. So I guess I can just let you all go because we don't need to talk about it. But I got to talk prepared, so I got to talk, right? So today I'm going to talk about one heart at a time. And it's based on the actual Good Samaritan story, which we're all familiar with, I'm sure. And I'm going to talk about putting a little bit more love in your heart. I think you guys have a little bit more space. And also, thank you for that personal sharing. I know a lot of times in Unity we think we're exempt, right? And we think we're exempt. I can remember one time, I don't even know what I was mad at. I was involved in Unity, I was becoming a Unity teacher. And you'll hear more about this later, but I was working in what I call corporate America, right? And I was so upset about something. I just stood in the parking lot and I was stamping my feet and I was shaking and my little mind saying, Jill, that's not very Unity-like, is it? I go, no, but I'm really upset. So today, if anything else, I just want to give you some more things to think about, some more awareness. And I know as a church, your goal is to become more involved in the community. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about involved in the community, maybe some other things that you might have to be aware of. So today in Luke, I'm going to read the story of the Good Samaritan. And so wanting to justify himself, he asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. And robbers fell on this poor man, beat him up to death, almost let him lay at the side of the road to die. Now, by chance, a priest came down, and the priest saw the man at the side of the road, and he went to the other side and passed him by. Now, another person came by. This time it was a Levite. Saw the man at the side of the road, went over to the other side, and passed him by. Finally, by chance, a Samaritan came by, and he took pity on him. And so he went to the man, he bandaged up his wounds, he poured oil and wine over them, and then he put the man on his own animal. And then he took him to the inn and took care of him. The next day, not only did he take care of him, but he went to the innkeeper. He gave the innkeeper money. He said, take care of this man, and when I come back through, if you're short of anything, any money, anything that you did for this man, I will pay you. So then Jesus said, the one that showed the man the mercy is the neighbor. So please go forward and do likewise. Well, metaphysically, and I think I heard some people talk about studying metaphysics. What I love about metaphysics is that you can go deeper in the Bible. Now, I was raised traditionally in Christianity, and I would read stories like Noah. I'd read stories about other people and places, and I had a hard time understanding that all this violence in the world was God's word. It didn't about unity. And the first thing about unity is the places. Now, Jericho is the opposite of Jerusalem. It represents the spiritual, where Jericho is the material. Jerusalem is the high spiritual resolve, but many times are robbed away. Like you get up in the morning, right? You feel pretty good about things. You slept good, you had a good breakfast. You feel very spiritual, right? Well, then you get out on the highway, and I know you live in beautiful Payson, and we live in, actually we have a house in Lakeside. And I used to welcome the summer. Well, you know what happens to our population up here, right? It explodes. I'm right off the 260, not far from the church. And I can tell when it's summer because I have to wait and wait and wait and wait to get out on my highway to go to work. But then somebody cuts you off. You're not feeling very spiritual, are you? Or that dryer. I love that analogy of the dryer. You know, 50 cents going to stand in my way. And that's what it's all about. It's so easy to get knocked off kilter, right? It's human life. The characters. Now, there's a lot of cultural things going on in Jesus' time. The priests and the Levites, they were uppity, right? A lot of times people couldn't even talk to them because they were all high and mighty. A lot of times they lived with the law, you know, they did all their deeds and their dues, and they didn't, you know, do anything on Sundays, and they cooked their food right, and they had 2 sets of silverware. They were perfect, right? No, they weren't, because what really came to my mind about these people is that it was the Good Samaritan who was able to see those people. The Good Samaritan was a lot of times, you know, some of the people that they didn't even associate with. They were so wrapped up in their vision of who they were, so wrapped up. But what came to me in meditation was the Levites and the priests didn't see that man. They didn't see them because they had blinders on. They had blinders. They couldn't see that poor man at the side of the road because they were so wrapped up in themselves. So wrapped up. It was only the Good Samaritan that could see that person and help that person. I want to tell a story. I guess some of you that said that you either lived in the valley or Green Valley, Phoenix. So we do a lot of family events, and we had a timeshare, and we decided to spend it in Scottsdale, so the family could meet us and everything. So my husband and I, what time do you take a walk when you live in the valley? 5, 6, something like that. Even where we live, it was okay to mow your grass at 4:30 in the morning, right? We don't care. We just want out of that sun. So my husband and I, Mike, and bless his heart for always being and supported me. So we got up early. We went to the lobby for a cup of coffee, and we were going to go on a walk. It was funny. There was this Canadian at the counter, and he was yelling at the clerk. He said, "There's something wrong with my apartment." "Why? What's wrong with your apartment? Can we help you?" "I don't know. I turned that cold water faucet on. All I get is hot water." And you live down there, you know that, right? There's 2 kinds of water out of that faucet, warm and warmer. So anyway, so we go on our walk. We're going down, I think we're close to Shea Boulevard. And this old car goes down the road. This is an example of 2 people seeing the same car. So it's Friday morning, and I'm thinking, oh, bless that car. It's going to take those people to work on time this morning. I hope it has enough gas. I hope that tire has air in it. Oh my God, I just hope they make it. I turn over to my husband, and I love my husband. He says, "Can you imagine what?" I said, "What?" He said, "They don't take care of that car. They don't fill it up with oil. They're not doing anything to it." You know, and so that's an example of 2 people seeing the same event principle number 3. The principle is that you think of the 3 agents. It's the creative sense. And through this one power, you establish your own consciousness and your own world. We all know that thoughts create things. And sometimes we go, where did that come from? And then you look back and you go, I got it. So in the daily word today, it says that my spiritual journey, I love this, but I'm not used to it. The spiritual journey begins with awareness of divine power that's God. Infinite divine love is so vast, so unimaginable to my human mind, that I am in awe of the power within me. I do see clearly. So I'm going to give a few stories about how you can have filters and not even realize it. This was a long time ago. Actually, my profession, I'm on my second career now. My first profession was IT management. And I worked at Fortune 500 companies like America West. I worked at Circle K. And then finally for 15 years at PetSmart. Well, this was back when I was at Circle K. And we had a human resource manager. Her name was Linda. And Linda, I didn't know. There was something wrong with Linda that she had about me, and I wasn't sure what. So finally I said, Linda, what's wrong? She goes, Jill, you're so prejudiced. And I thought, because that's not who I am. I really believe we're all one, and I try to live it. I said, Linda, why do you think that? She said, well, look at your staff. So the staff I inherited, right? I had 4 white males and 1 female white on my staff. She looked at that staff thinking I had handpicked them all. And I didn't. So that's an example of where someone else can look at you and come up with something different. Has anybody seen the movie lately called Hidden Numbers? It's been on TV. Takes place in NASA. And it's about the time, it's an excellent movie. And it takes place at a time when we're trying to put the first man in space. And so these engineers all think they know what they're doing, right? And what I love about it, because it's technology, right? They have to knock that door open to get that IBM in there, because that IBM was huge. I can remember working at America West, and they were so worried not having enough raised floor because of the technology. Well, what happened to the technology? You've got them in your pocket now. That thing's bigger than that big mainframe. Anyway, there was this black lady, and she was so smart. And so they invited her in to become part of the staff. And she could do math just like anything. In fact, one of the ladies went to the library and couldn't even get a book. She wanted a book on Fortran, which is a language I've programmed in some like COBOL. I never did Fortran. But what I can't understand, I grew up in Illinois. We didn't have colored bathrooms in the 60s. I was around in the 60s. We didn't have colored bathrooms. And this, she was there as the guy in charge. Where did she go? She had to run a half a mile in the rain to go to the restroom because that was the only colored restroom. And so finally he got mad. He knocked the sign down and got rid of that little piece of tape on the small coffee pot. It's a colored coffee pot, I guess. What I'm trying to say is, now when I look back at Linda, she has some of those filters that she probably grew up with, where her parents were telling her stories of having to sit in the back of the bus, having to use a different restroom. So now I look back and I kind of can understand a little bit of where she was coming from. Well, anyway, when I worked at PetSmart, which was my last place, I had an opportunity to work with all people from all cultures. I worked with Hindus, I worked with Muslims, I worked with Buddhist people as well. It was a great melting pot. So I'm going to tell you about Hamashu. Coolest guy. And he had a nice little family. And anyway, he worked for me for a while, and then he went to work for this other lady. And she came into my office one day. She said, I'm going to fire Hamashu. I said, why? I was just having such trouble with him. And I'm going, why? He was a great employee. I mean, I can't surprise he got more excited about graduating with a master's at ASU or getting his citizenship, whichever one it was. He was so excited about being an American citizen. He said, well, he listens to nothing I tell him. And I said, well, do you ask him any questions? Questions? Why should I ask him questions? I said, because he's very intelligent, right? He's an intelligent guy. After that, she was fine, he was fine. He actually became even a director, which I never made. I don't think I want to be director. I always think, management's like the peanut butter in the middle of two pieces of bread, right? Can't please anybody. So anyway, and then there was Sylvia. And Sylvia's a cute little lady. And she bought a new house in Anthem. And her mom came from India to visit her. And she said, Jill, I don't know what I'm going to do. I said, well, what's going on, India? She says, well, in India, when we bless our house, we have a cow walk through it. Okay. And she said, I don't know what to do. I can't find a cow in Anthem. Okay. Well, let's think about it. And so finally, she said, you know what I can do? I'll get a big pot. I'll pour it full of milk. I'll put it on my stove, and I'll warm it up. Made her mom happy, made her happy, and her house was blessed. I never thought, did they follow him with like a whisk broom, to think they need anything? I don't know. Anyway, one day she came to my desk. She was heartbroken. Heartbroken. I said, what happened, Lydia? My husband's brother just committed suicide. I said, well, let's go talk. And we talked. The point I'm trying to make is we're all unique. We're all special. Everybody is. It doesn't matter what color of skin we are. It doesn't matter what religion we are. But to be part of a community, you have to take that veil off and look at people as they really are. Take a little time and get to know people. When you're out in the community, I don't know, we have a person in Show Love who is homeless. And you see her walking around every day. And I keep thinking, I should stop and just have her tell me her story. I'm sure that she has something to give me. And, when you're homeless, I think a lot of times, maybe you grew up in a bad part of town, I think sometimes it's hard for those people to break the mold. I think we need to just kind of listen to them. Find out what their culture is. Up in the White Mountains, I don't think it's much here. We have a lot of Native American population. We're very close to the reservation. And I think I told a couple of people, I had one of those thoughts I needed more of, so I wanted to do more grief counseling. So I got a job at a mortuary. So I get lots of, you get what you ask for, right? Anyway, what's interesting about that culture is there's a lot of death. These kids are like 20 years old, and they're hanging themselves. And it's just hard, my heart goes out to them. There's a lot of alcohol on the reservation, too. And I was talking to somebody one day, and he said, well, my grandma's really getting old. I said, well, how old is she? Oh, I think she's 60 now. I'll tell you what, I'm over 60 and I'm not old, okay? But what I'm trying to say is their culture is so different. And, I keep writing in all my papers, and I got one class now, I've been writing this one word at a time, about there's got to be a way that I can reach out to this community and spread a little love. Put a little love in their hearts so they don't feel so hopeless and so desperate. I mean, these people are young, they have so much to offer. What could be so desperate to feel that life's over? Anyway, I had this one fellow come in, and he just got out of prison. And what was so sad about it is his dad died 2 years ago. And nobody told him. Nobody told him. How sad. I said to him, well, I'm really sorry. I you know what? He said, it was probably good they didn't tell me when I was in prison, because I probably would have had a harder time dealing with it. But I had a copy of the program that we had created for him 2 years ago. And I was trying, I gave it to him, and tears were coming down his face. And I said, it's okay. And I said, you have so much more to give. And he put his hand up, he was going to shake my hand. I said, do you want a hug? He said, yeah, I'd love a hug. He put his big arms around me, and the biggest bear hug. And I'm just hoping when he left, he feels good about himself. Whatever he did, it's over. He did his time. He needs his help. He needs to do something good. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, take off that veil. Take a look at people in your congregation. What a beautiful congregation. Beautiful faces. And when you go out in your community, take off your veil. Look at the Christ in it. They're all people. They all just want the same thing. They want a little love. That's what the world is, right? Just a little love. That's all it takes. All it takes. So in Matthew 5:8, it says, blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. So I'm sure you get a lot of the Unity publications. And I just love, there's a poem in the beginning of this. I don't know if you've seen this. It's the one from Odysseus. Now, when I was growing up, I lived next to a Catholic family. And I can remember even a day where they didn't have to eat fish on Fridays, but they did when they were in Lent, right? Well, Lent isn't about getting our candy, not watching TV. No, Lent is this. I fast from judging others. I feast on beholding the Christ in them. I fast from emphasis on differences. I feast on the oneness of all life. I fast from apparent darkness. I feast on the reality of life. I fast from thoughts of illness. I feast on the healing power of God. I fast from words that pollute. I feast on phrases that purify. I fast from discontent. I feast on gratitude. Attitude of gratitude. I fast from anger. I feast on patience. I fast from pessimism, and feast on optimism. I fast from worry. I feast on divine order. I fast from complaining. I feast on appreciation. I fast from negative. I feast on affirmative. I fast from hostility. I feast on non-resistance. I fast from bitterness. I feast on forgiveness. I fast from self-concern. I feast on compassion for others. I fast from anxiety. I feast on eternal truth. I fast from discouragement. I feast on hope. I fast from the facts that depress. I feast on thoughts that uplift. I fast from suspicion. I feast on truth. I fast from the sorrows, the shadows of sorrow, and I feast on the serenity of silence. I fast from problems that overwhelm me. I feast on the power of prayer. And now